So yes, I have been playing the brand new next gen update as well as patch 1.5. It is out right now for free, so go get it. I'm going to be talking about the good and the bad with this patch. There's some really cool stuff. Of course, we got 2 brand new weapons, which I think are great. That's one thing I absolutely wanted to see from this update, were 2 or more free weapons, and that's what we got. Plus, we got a really cool new gameplay style, I guess you would say, with the throwing knife. We got some crowd improvements in here as well. And yes, finally, we can go to our apartment and further customize our character, and there's new customization options as well. And we can even decorate our apartment and get 4 new apartments as well, or it's a total of 4 apartments throughout Night City, and decorate our apartment too. But there's some disappointing stuff here. I'm going to talk about how the ray tracing mode, in my opinion, is very underwhelming, considering the frame rate is not up to par to the 30 frames per second that they are promising on paper. It's definitely not translating to that, in my opinion. Then we're going to be talking about the underwhelming police system is still there. That's going to disappoint a lot of people. But yeah, let's talk about this right now, starting with what has changed with this brand new update, and it's pretty significant. Now, it is free, and again, it's available on basically PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC, and it comes with 2 modes, performance and ray tracing modes, on, you know, PS5 and Xbox Series X. And performance mode, you're going to be pushing 60 frames per second. It's going to really focus on that. That's my preferred mode, because let me tell you what, the ray tracing mode is very underwhelming in my opinion. It feels very sluggish. I mean, it looks good when you're holding still, but to me, it feels like you're playing underwater, and I just don't see how this is like a smooth 30 frames per second. I just don't see it at all. Let me know if you guys are experiencing the same thing, but in my opinion, they have to improve the ray tracing mode for the next gen consoles. We're going to also talk about how the perk systems have also been reworked in this game as well. But I need to mention this real quick. There's a free trial of the game available for 30 days for the next. When you download the game, you could try it for free for 30 days. And if you decide you want to buy the game, your save file will transfer over. Kudos to CD Projekt Red for that one. And also, I have to mention, I personally think they did a great job communicating on their stream. So excellent job on the stream. And this patch is a big one. It is 60 gigabytes big. But yeah, there's something really interesting I got to show you guys about the patch notes, and that is right here. Let me show you this. This had my attention big time. It says, added a few secrets in Night City to be discovered by players due to some technical challenges. This change is not available on the previous generation of consoles. That piques my interest big time, because I guess the change that you could commit to for Night City, or the secrets you could discover, I guess you would say, are so graphically intense they cannot go on the base PS4 or base Xbox One. So this, I can't wait to discover what in the world these secrets are. So that has my interest peaked for sure. Now let's keep going, shall we? So yeah, I gotta talk about the new weapons. I think they're great. I love that they've added them into the game. There's 2 new weapons, the guillotine, which you're seeing right here, and then the Umbra, and they handle very well. They feel appropriately very powerful, and you could modify these weapons with some new attachment options as well at the vendor. It's going to be Wilson that you get these weapons from. They're not too expensive, so that's good news. Here's the other one right here. I think this is the Umbra one. But yeah, it doesn't look like you can attach scopes to it. I don't believe, from what I've seen so far. It would have been cool to have that option, but there's some cool attachments you could do in the game as well. But overall, kudos again for adding those 2 free new weapons. It's something that we can mess around in the game for sure. And then, you know, we have this throwing knife right here, which I describe as like acting like a boomerang, where it refreshes for you and it adds an entirely different play style. They've reworked the perk system to really allow you to mess around with that play style, as well as a few others. But I mean, they completely reworked the perk system to where you have to go in here and reinvest your points that you had previously. So yeah, it's a big rework, and I'm still testing it out myself. I'll see what I think of it when all said and done. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, finally, guess what? Finally, we can go to the mirror in our apartment and customize our V. Now, there's something really cool about this. There's brand new customization options right here that you can mess around with. So at any time, you can go to your apartment, finally customize your character, do whatever you want right there. But it doesn't look like there's any gender changing options, excuse me, right now in the game. And then, yeah, you can go in here and take a look at some of the new apartments that you can purchase throughout the city. And each one actually looks different. So that's really, really exciting. As you can see right here, there's like a Japanese themed apartment. So I'm really impressed with that. I thought for sure they were going to cookie cutter this thing and just copy the one apartment throughout the city. But yeah, you can also further customize your apartments. I'm going to do like a full breakdown of what you can actually do with all this stuff and a review in the future, so look out for that. Now, one of the big questions that they asked CD Projekt Red on stream is what happens to your pet cat? Well, there's secrets to discover with, I think it's Nibbler or the pet cat, and yeah, he doesn't follow you around from apartment to apartment, which is kind of unfortunate. But there's a lot of cool stuff in the brand new apartments. There's a guitar you could play in one of the new apartments. All stashes are in the apartments as well. They're shared between apartments and your car, but there's like new buffs as well. So doing activities in your apartment, for example, like sleeping or showering, give you certain bonuses that you can discover. So that's actually pretty cool. Now, there's also some brand new romance options as well in this game, where you can actually call up whoever you're interested in a lot more, or text them. So there's new options there as well. But let's talk about crowds. There's new things that are happening with the crowds. They react to you more appropriately, and they react to each other. As you can see right here, this bouncer is taking on everyone. So that's one thing they did display. And some of these, civilians are going to actually be armed this time around and start opening fire at you. It's not just going to be the police coming after you. But mentioning police, this is the disappointing thing for sure. The police system is still very much work in progress. It's basically in beta, in my opinion, and I was disappointed to see this. I thought for sure they would fully flesh out this police system by now, but it's still working somewhat similar to after patch 1.31, and it doesn't look like they get into their vehicles. They don't attempt to chase you. It's just the same thing. So I think a lot of people will be disappointed with that one for sure. Now, there's some minor things that they have also added here. They have added new poses for Johnny Silverhand as well, which I don't know if anyone's going to be interested in that or not. But one thing that I did notice is that the handling does feel really good. They've added some really cool stuff with the motorcycles. You can now do donuts, but some of the motorcycles feel more heavy, like they actually feel like legit motorcycles, which I was very happy about. And guess what? You can walk up to random motorcycles throughout the world finally and hop on and steal motorcycles from gangs and things like that. I was so irritated that was not in the game originally. I remember being like, why can't I get on these motorcycles? This is so frustrating. But yeah, you can do donuts and all sorts of stuff, and they've improved the traffic model as well throughout the game. So now there's going to be what they call panic reactions from drivers when they hear gunfire and things like that. So that's cool, and they've added suspension throughout all of the traffic model as well. Also, something really important to know is that the map is so much easier to read now. Thank God. I remember thinking to myself, there is something wrong with this map. Thankfully, they've correctly color-coded side missions from main missions, which is really cool to see. Something so simple, which of course should have been added into the game initially, but these quality of life updates really do help the game, in my opinion. So that's really good news. And they say also that there's some new combat changes. AI, for the AI in this game, they'll take cover better. They will, try to flank you and things like that. I got to get into this stuff to see if anything that they're saying on these streams is actually true. So that's going to be really important to know. But yeah, I really do wish the police system was more fleshed out, of course. But they've also reworked the economy. The entire economy has been improved. They really want it to be easier to purchase cars, weapons, and everything, basically. So that's something they want, because they want to be able to have you guys experience basically everything that's in the game instead of having to really pick and choose what path you want to go on. At this point, they want you to experience what they have actually created. Now, what is also really cool and something that I love is that fixers require you to do a certain amount of gigs to obtain more interesting jobs. There's also new rewards, completely new rewards for completing a certain amount of fixer jobs. So there's like milestones with working with a certain fixer, and each fixer, I believe, is going to have unique rewards. So I think that is really, really cool. Now, this is minor, but a lot of you guys, I guess, were requesting this. There is a walk toggle option in the game finally, and guess what? You can reject calls, and there's a setting in the menu where you can set that by default so no one bothers you. And if you miss a really, really important call, don't worry, because that's going to go straight to text message. You can review it, whatever. So no big deal right there. So yeah, overall, this update, you know, this is not a review from me right now, but my impressions are I think people are going to really like it. I got to get into the perk system more and the gameplay changes a little bit more. I think people are going to take to the fact that finally they can customize their character, you know, go out and buy some real estate, get apartments and things like that. But to me, what is disappointing is the ray tracing mode is just such a disappointment. It's underwhelming. This is on PS5, and as you could see, to me, the frame rate is not a smooth 30 frames per second. I was hoping for something more smoother in the experience, considering we have been waiting for so long. And then that police system is definitely underwhelming, as you can see right here. So they need to get to work on the police system, in my opinion, and improving the ray tracing, of course. And hopefully they keep rolling out the free DLC. I love the new free weapons. I want to see new free cars added to the game as well. We'll see what happens with that one. But overall, I gotta say, I love the communication this time from CD Projekt Red. I think this was by far their best stream in how they communicated, and this is very refreshing to see. And honestly, I wouldn't mind to see more streams from them just like this one. So yeah, I think personally, perhaps they're finally on the right path. We'll see what happens. It's going to be, you know, a process for sure. I think we're going to see improvements, incremental improvements up until the big expansion release, which I personally cannot wait to see what they're doing with that. Now, yeah, I'm going to dive into more stuff with a full-blown in-depth review, of course. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smack that like button, and I will see you all next time. Take care.